All right, everyone, how are we doing on this nice little afternoon? It's 1:50 p.m. Hold on, what's today? Today's the 29th of June. You know why I know it's the 29th? I only know that because Cash and Flight are supposed to be playing their 1v1 tomorrow. So this will be the last video I post before posting more Flight versus Cash, or at least it should be, because this is the Flight reaction channel after all. I'm turning on my other phone in case B Real comes on. Don't mind me. Hey, this is the phone. This right here. This is the phone I used to record on. Pretty neat, huh? Home button. Home button hasn't worked in over a year. That's why we had to get it replaced. But it is what it is. But today we're here to react to some more cartoon shit. If you watched the last one, the Ben 10 one, you might recall that I said my favorite cartoons are Ben 10. Gravity Falls, SpongeBob, and Beyblade. Today we're here to watch some Beyblade shit. It was pretty conveniently recommended to me. There's like a connection between these two shows or something. Maybe I'm the target audience for all of these, but yeah. This wasn't that far away from the Ben 10 video that we reacted to. That one was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun recording that record button right here. Had a lot of fun recording that one. So we're gonna watch this. This one's called ranking every villain in the Beyblade Metal series from worst to best. I forgot. Fuck, dude. What is this guy's name? They should have like the author right below the title. We'll figure it out at the end of the video. It's some green profile picture. I've watched his videos before, not reacted, but watched. But I'll shut him out at the end. Me personally, I think Damien right here. This might be my favorite villain in all of Beyblade history, but it's a lot up for debate. There's a lot of villains. There's a lot of guys kind of on the edge of being a villain, but not really a villain. There's some good in their heart. Move. But whatever. Without further ado, let's get into this one.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. Today we have a
I am doing well. I'm doing well.
We're going to be ranking every single villain in the Metal series from worst to best. Now, really quick, this list is not from weakest to strongest. Instead, we are simply judging these characters based on how good they are at being villains. To me, this is a bit more interesting.
What? I don't know. That's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that ranking system. I thought we were doing best and worst villains.
Than just a standard power ranking list because it's purely subjective and debatable. A good villain, in my eyes, could look completely different from a good one in yours. So I think this video could definitely spark some very interesting conversations. Also, my definition for villain in this video was pretty loose. Like, yes, we are talking about the staples like RYUGA, Doji, and Rago, but we're also covering the more obscure and forgettable villains.
So, like, if we were talking talent, this guy would be last. But I don't know, as a villain, if we're looking at how good of a villain you can be, this guy, what's his fucking name? Is his name like Bushido or something? I usually skip these episodes when I watch Beyblade. But this guy, he was an asshole, bro. He was a straight asshole.
From the
he didn't have no good in his heart.
All the way down to glorified filler characters and
that
everything
nigga was
else
trash.
And honestly, I'd be willing to bet there's far more villains in the show than you probably remember. After all, it's easy to forget.
After I'm like looking at all these clips you're showing, these little snapshots you're showing,
we have a grand total of 30 characters that we're going to be talking about. So I think it should be a ton of fun.
Are y'all excited? Come on, let's get excited.
How I made this list. These are the four main points I used. So we have fear factor, or basically just how menacing a villain is. And this doesn't really have anything to do with power scale, because plenty of characters proved you don't need to be the strongest guy in the room to be menacing as
fear factor. Reiji.
We also got impact on the story. This one is simple. Some villains are a lot more important than others, and I believe a good villain has a big effect on the story and on other characters. Then we have maybe the most valuable point, a villain's narrative. A good villain should have clear motives that make sense, and being a well-written character and on other characters. Then we have maybe the most valuable point, a villain's narrative. A good villain should have clear motives that make sense, and being a well-written character always helps. And then finally, we have entertainment. This one gets more subjective, but I need to actually enjoy seeing a villain on the screen. You could have the best writing ever, but if you're annoying and hard to watch, you can only make it so far.
There?
So with the criteria out of the way,
is it him?
Let's jump in. I'd say from number 30 down to 23, we have a mix of gag villains, completely flat villains, and characters who are barely villains.
Oh, I thought we were doing a tier list.
Last, 30th place
is
Marcus. I don't think this is a surprise.
Fucking God.
He was only prevalent in a one episode.
This guy, this fat fuck. Oh my, let me chill out. Let me chill out. that was a little rude. Sorry, Marcus, but this guy was just nothing, dude. Why was he even there? They couldn't make him look cool at all. This is scumbag. The 3 representatives of Team Africa right here. Nile is cool as shit. Nile's like a goat. Kyoya, another goat. Marcus. They could have like at least made him look cool.
Backstory arc for Team Wildfang, and he was written to be.
He came into the story.
29th place, we have the Kumades. These guys are your Dark Nebula filler characters. No backstory to speak of, not menacing, but at least one of them made battle video for you. 28th place.
Bro, I'm gonna pause the video real quick to do this. Struggling. Oh my God. Sorry.
Together the Nemesis Goons. This is what I call the group of Herschel, and Cygnus.
We gotta rank every single one of these guys
they
one
never
by
do
one.
Anything special, kind of just henchmen. 27 is Dynamis, and this
Dynamis,
one barely
the villain?
counts. He's only here because Pluto corrupted him with
nah,
the curse
he shouldn't
of Hades,
be on this
and that
list.
made him fight
Respect
on the side of
Dynamis.
Nemesis. But overall, as a villain,
he
barely did anything. So at 26, we have Busajima. This guy was a pretty...
Busito, this nigga named Busajima. That weak-ass name. This dude was weak as hell, bro. But I don't know. What were we going over? Narrative, that's the only thing I remember. Impact, he had no impact. Fear factor. This guy, look, he's kind of scary looking in the face. This is low-key the scariest character.
Low-tier villain, but at the very least, he ran his own gang, and he was pretty menacing to those low-tier bladers.
He ran shit in that abandoned ass city.
Or really just Anton. This, for me, is the most interesting entry we have so far, just because I really like the idea of a team in the World Championships flat-out cheating. I'm also a big fan of the Russia arc, so maybe I'm biased, but unfortunately...
What? God, I wish I knew this guy. Yo, God. You're the first person in Beyblade fan history to say that you're a fan of the Russia art. Nobody likes this art. Everybody, this is getting skipped over every single rewatch. I don't give a fuck. Alexi, the leader, his fucking Beyblade is trash. Everybody's Beyblade, nah, big dude right here. His Beyblade was low-key not trash. He should have been the leader low-key. His bear Beyblade, he made the Orsos look good. I don't know, but yeah, overall...
I can't put them any higher because they were not scary antagonists.
Nobody likes Russian
and Anton, as the main villain of this arc,
Beyblade
is kind of just a generic
Beyblade is wild for that too, for making the Russians some cheaters. Beyblade is low-key walking the barrier sometimes.
Or to Doji. Things could have been different,
but
it is what it is.
Look at his glasses.
24 goes to Tetsuya,
Look at my glasses.
And I know
okay,
he's like the designated troll character of the series, but he actually doesn't have a bad backstory. His best friend abandoned him, and that's what sort of molded him into the villain he is. He was decently menacing at the very start of Metal Fusion.
Was backstory part of this? I didn't see backstory in the criteria before that we talked about before the list. Tetsuya crab gimmick, I guess is mildly funny. He's weak as hell, 0 fear factor. I mean, I guess this is the highest you can put him.
Madoka, but as the show goes on, he kind of just turns into a running joke. Now, 23 actually goes to Chris.
Yeah, okay. So this guy, he's actually like really strong. I guess this is what he was talking about. I feel like he doesn't... A lot of people don't enjoy Chris. His voice is annoying. His voice is trash as hell. Who is his voice actor, bro? A lot of people don't like respect the way that he like fights for money or whatever, or like he's a blader for hire. I personally don't see anything wrong with that. His Beyblade is sick. His playstyle is awesome. I don't really know. Let's see what he says. Clearly he's in the Chris hater. category.
This is another character who hardly even counts as a villain. Sure, he joined Team Nemesis, but I don't think Chris has an evil bone in his body. His entire
okay, I guess that's kind of fair, but the majority of time he was on the screen, he was a villain.
motivation is just making money. Now, Chris does have a pretty solid backstory, so maybe you're wondering why he isn't higher on the list. And yeah, I think Chris becoming a Blader mercenary after being abandoned by his friends is very cool, but that's not what makes him a villain. He's a villain because he joined Team Nemesis, and his motivations for doing that were a lot less cool. He just wanted to get paid. So yeah, very cool character, but in my book, he's
not really a villain.
So at 22, we have Bao, and honestly, this is a pretty decent step up. By himself, Bao isn't particularly interesting, but the whole Balin Fist storyline at least gives him some good motivations. His introduction was also very cool.
Yeah, his introduction was like his entire character. This Bao dude don't strike no fear to nobody's heart. Once he takes that mask off, and it's just like this redhead femboy. All his aura just goes away. His Beyblade ends up being trash. He's only good before he's revealed.
Flash mystery.
He's not over Chris.
He kind of gets
we
lost
disagree.
In shadow. Now, coming in at 21, we actually have Yu. Now, I know it's hard to look at this innocent little kid and call him a villain, but in Metal Fusion, he kind of was. Obviously, he was in the Dark Nebula, but that alone does not make him a villain. For me, it's the fact that he was a very high-ranking member at Dark Nebula, and he was very
We'll never forget what Dark Nebula did to you.
So I think Yu ends up being a cool example of a villain who's not even remotely evil. Now, breaking into
he didn't even take none of these little niggas in the background serious. Benkei, bitch ass. Oh my, don't get me started on Benkei. Benkei, as long as Benkei might be on this list. If Benkei is on this list, we'll talk shit about Benkei, but we'll just leave you alone today. Kenta, he didn't take none of these guys serious. He was just laughing at everybody and just causing havoc. What a menace. This guy.
A cool example of a villain who's not even remotely evil. Now,
that used to trip me out so bad when I was a kid. Like, how is your name going to be you?
Decent villain.
Me?
He's not very well written. There's no compelling motivation beyond.
Yohanna's got too many haters, though. He's cool as shit. I guess they just hate him because he meows. Like he's kind of a furry. But when I was first introduced to him, I didn't really know what a furry was. So he's kind of a cool guy, you know. It was really disrespectful how he do shit. Like, he's trying to find the legendary bladers, and if he doesn't feel that pulse of the star fragment in your Beyblade, he's just out of there. There's no reason to fight. Like, he'll withdraw his Beyblade in the middle of the battle because he doesn't think you're worth it. And that's like really disrespectful, and I like that. I like the disrespect out of there. I don't think he gets any credit for that. He's really he's straight business, man. Straight business villain.
Lingering threat.
Good recruiter
legendary bladers to the dark side. Now, coming in 19th place, we actually.
God, this bitch. Benkei, how is he this high? He wasn't even a villain that long. Talking about not even a villain. I guess he is kind of mean looking, but the Kyoya glaze, I can't even. Oh my God, Benkei, you're lucky I didn't come into this raid to hate on you. I've got so much to say about Benkei. It's just I can't really remember. Can't remember why I hate him. Fuck, dude. That's always a problem with me. I have so much to say about a guy at one point, and then when I finally get a chance to hate on him, I just don't remember anymore. Yeah, he's just a glazer, dude. He has nothing like in himself. I don't know. It's everything he does is just motivated for another dude, and I can't respect that at all. Not in real life, not in the fucking cartoon.
He's best remembered for being a great ally, but of course
it's driven
he did
to death
have
in the
a brief
cartoon.
stint as a legitimate villain. He was a part of Kyoya's face hunters and would routinely jump children for their Bay points. However, it was clear he wasn't evil as he helped Kenta train, even while still being a villain. It was cool to see him slowly transform into the friendly guy we know him as today, but as an antagonist, he just wasn't super threatening. Next up, we got Tsubasa in 18th place, and this is yet another character who barely counts. In fact, he was never.
I don't know. He was actively playing both sides. I don't know. I guess he doesn't really count, but if we're looking at him as a villain right here, I think he should be a lot higher. He was pretty intimidating.
Actually a villain. He was in the Dark Nebula, and he was
But
a
I
very
get it, though. I get it.
high-ranking member, but of
Fair
course, he was a
ranking.
spy for the WBBA. Now, I chose to still include him because for a decent portion of Metal Fusion, we thought he was a villain. So yeah, as a villain,
He was playing the villain role so well, we actually thought he was a villain.
It was still pretty chill.
Is Phoenix
even
gonna
going
be
as
on
far
here?
as
There's so
offering
many
advice
like
to
double
Kenta,
face
but
villains.
yeah, between him not being very menacing and not actually being a villain, this is as far as I'm putting him. But okay, coming in 17th place,
bro,
we actually
this
have
from that,
Joaquin from the
that
Beyblade
movie.
movie. Now, if you have not seen this
I didn't
movie,
watch.
I recommend you go watch it. You can
I'm
find
good.
it on
I'm
YouTube,
good.
and it's really
I'm
good.
good. It's in Japanese. I can't. That's why I can't watch animes. Cause like, I can't watch the sub shit, dude. I can't read. I'm kind of slow.
So yeah, I think Joaquin is a good villain. He has solid motivations with the whole Atlantis
can't put
thing,
any
and he
input
is
on
pretty
into
menacing.
this,
He manipulated his own grandson and came
looks pretty
super
cool.
close to destroying the whole world. Now, I'm not putting him any higher because he does kind of suffer from that generic villain syndrome. Kind of the classic trope of, I'm a villain and I want to destroy the world. He is still pretty solid though. In fact, I'd say he marks a turning point on our list to
We all know
solid,
Ryuga's
real
gonna be
villains
first.
who are pretty menacing. So coming in 16th place, we have the
Garcia
Garcias.
brothers.
I grouped them together because they're all
And-
kind
and
of a team.
sister.
They're not the strongest or scariest antagonists,
Hell
but I
no.
do
We gotta
like
separate this guy Argo from the rest of his little trash ass siblings. Argo was the only one that actually deserves a spot. The only thing holding Argo back from being a good villain is his fucking voice. Who is his voice actor? Y'all could have got like a black voice actor for this dude. He would have sounded. He should sound. His voice. He sounds. He sounds like a white kid. Regal. His Beyblade is cool as hell. He's strong as hell. His Beyblade is one of the coolest in the show. Like seriously, he fights with so much anger and like spirit. Unironically, the way he fights is much more respectable than the other three. The other three, they just got filler Beyblade. I guess the one dude has Cyclone Herculeo, but he's weak as fuck.
them. They're a more realistic take on a Beyblade villain. I mean, they're from the Brazilian favelas, and they're willing to do
Oh my god, the way Beyblade did Brazil too, turned them into some dirty cheating scumbags from the streets that fucking gangbang and shit. They made the Brazilian dudes some black gangbangers. Beyblade, you know, it's towing the line, man. It's towing the line.
They'll play dirty. They'll straight up attack you before a match.
Look at what they did. It's just such an iconic,
I think it kind of works. A gritty, villainous group like this is a good addition to the show. Now, coming in 15th, this may be a pretty big shot, but we have Rago. Now, obviously, you look at Rago and you see the final boss of the entire show. Or do you? Is he actually the final boss, or is he just a placeholder to launch the Beyblade and revive Nemesis? I find his character to be completely flat, and I think out of everyone else on the show, he suffers the most from generic villain syndrome.
I don't know. If we're talking about fear factor, this guy being the one looking like this, being the one to wield the Nemesis Beyblade, his voice is crazy too. Like, his voice is crazy deep. They put some effect on his voice. This guy is terrifying. What were the other factors? Narrative? I guess if you're looking at the other three factors, he's not as strong.
He's maybe the most menacing character in the show, period, but he hardly feels like a character. So, coming in 14th place, we have the slightly improved version of Rago, King Hades. We saw a lot less of King Hades, but that actually works out better. Because I feel like if we saw any more of him, he would feel just as flat as Rago does. But because he's relegated to the occasional flashback scene, instead of feeling like a flat character, he just has aura. Now, I'm not saying he's so much better than Rago, but I think the lack of screen time actually does him a big favor. Now, coming in 13th place, we have Dr. Ziggurat. As a character,
Dr. Ziggurat's funny as hell, dude. Nah, he's low-key not even a villain either. He just wanted to sell his product. Leave Ziggurat alone, man. I'm a Ziggurat stan. Ziggurat ain't do nothing wrong.
Ziggurat is pretty flat. He didn't really have any motivations beyond just being the best scientist, but I thought everything he did with Hades Inc. was interesting. Dare I say, Hades Inc. was my favorite antagonistic group over Dark Nebula and even the whole Nemesis group. Now,
Whoa.
number
Look
12
at that
actually
fade.
goes
What was
to
that?
Pluto.
That was
I
mysterious.
don't think he's above Rago or
Pluto,
King Hades by
random ass.
much, but I think
this is another guy that suffers from when you take off this mask. He's wearing this mask for the entire Metal Fury season, and then he comes out the mask and looks like this. Like, we're not afraid of you anymore.
Actually goes to Pluto. I don't think he's above
good,
Rago or King Hades
His suit is
by
kind of cool
much,
though.
but I think the fact that he was pulling the
Not
strings
this
from the
rag,
very
but he
beginning
takes
of
it
Metal
off and he
Fury
has like
was
a
kind
suit.
of cool. He
A
was
cool
like
white
the
suit.
organizer of this whole thing, and I love when a villain is secretly scheming behind the scenes. Now, coming in at number 11, we have Aguma. I think he's actually a pretty underrated villain. First of all, his motives of revenge against the Balin Temple and the restoration of the Balin Fist are awesome. It's one of the best side plots in the entire series. And then he's the first legendary blader to join the dark side, making him...
Johannes is better than this dude. Not better at Beyblade, but as a villain, y'all just hate on Johannes. Y'all are so immature, bro.
Pretty menacing for a good chunk of the show. Now, with that being said, let's jump into our top 10 villains of the Metal series, with Jack coming in 10th place. I'm probably overrating Jack, I'm not gonna lie. He doesn't really have a narrative story, and you could argue he's kind of a standard villain. But remember,
how is this a standard villain? This is abstract. This is really bold of Beyblade for going this way with this guy, this creative rainbow fellow right here. This is not a generic villain. This guy is he's fucking insane. I mean, he's kind of like the Joker, but I guess generic in that way, but we need more Jokers.
Have a narrative story, and you could argue he's kind of a standard villain. But remember, one of our 4 points of criteria was entertainment. And boy, does Jack put on a show every time he's on screen.
Exactly.
Creating art in the middle of a stadium
Nobody else was doing it like him.
It's just awesome to see every time. He doesn't just want to win against you, he wants to turn you into his greatest masterpiece. Now, coming in 9th place, we have the villain of Metal Masters, Faust. And I don't know
how
if this
is he this high, dude? Oh no, he's about to gas up Faust. Nobody, bro. This guy is so lame. Twisted Tempo, the Beyblade. Before I even watched Beyblade, I knew what Twisted Tempo was based on the toy. Twisted Tempo was like the coolest Beyblade back in the day. Then to watch the anime and see it like so underutilized in Metal Masters. I mean, we're just talking about Faust today, though. Toby. We're talking about Toby today. So let's separate the narrative from the villain. I guess this guy is pretty intimidating now. He just doesn't really say much. He only has one motive.
But I think Faust may actually be my favorite villain conceptually. Just something about the idea of taking a fun, loving kid like Toby and emptying him out, plugging him into a machine, and turning him into...
The hell? That's not Faust. That's not what Faust did. That's what Ziggurat did. And we said Ziggurat's a normal loser villain. Ziggurat did this to him. Why don't we give Ziggurat credit for this?
Emotionless husk. It's a pretty dark and unsettling plot point, and I'm here for it. He's also a massive threat with the spiral core, and of course he has a huge impact on the story being connected to Masamune. Now, unfortunately, he's stuck at 9th place because he's got no personality. Of course, it makes sense why he doesn't have one. I thought that was the only reason he used to be Toby, and now he turned into a new person.
I disagree with this one.
His only job is to spin Twisted Tempo. But still, man, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work.
He looks pretty cool.
It feels like it should work, but the no personality thing really just drags him down. I guess it is cool when they finally bring Toby back, but I don't know. It's one thing not having fantastic writing, but having literally zero personality is pretty difficult to come back from. Now, coming in 8th place, we actually have my favorite character, Kiyoya. And even though his best moments are as a rival, he still made for a pretty great villain. He was extremely threatening, especially when he came back from Wolf Canyon. He had a good motivation of wanting revenge against Jinga, and he had a pretty big impact on the story, pushing all of our characters forward. Unlike Faust, I don't think there's any issues with Kiyoya as a villain. I just think there's a few who are better. So coming in 7th place, we actually have Reiji. Now, I will fully admit, Kiyoya is easy.
This guy, I think as a villain, this is like one of the only villains that was like a villain all the way through his entire tenure. When it was time to stop being a villain, he fucking disappeared. his 15 or so episodes that he's in, it's just straight intensity all the way through. This guy This guy was something else, man. He might be the most harsh villain on here.
Coming in 7th place, we actually have Reiji. Now, I will fully admit, Kyoya is easily the more well-rounded antagonist. As we discussed, he basically goes 4 for 4 when it comes to our criteria. Reiji, on the other hand, doesn't really have a backstory or a deep narrative.
Where is this backstory shit? That was not on the criteria. A deep narrative.
But maybe that works.
Yeah, Reiji that works in his favor.
The most sadistic character in the series. He
was like made in a lab. That's a crazy backstory. He was made just for Doji's purposes.
I think I'm okay with a character like this having no background. It almost adds to the mystique.
I'm gonna judge heavy on who comes up next on this list. We're gonna fight hard for Reiji to go up.
And again, even though he's not the most well-rounded antagonist, he is a very menacing villain. Now, coming in 6th place, we have the movie star himself, Helios.
I can't put anything. I don't know anything about this guy.
He's the most sympathetic villain of the entire series. He's fighting for what he believes is a true and noble cause, but all the while, he's just being manipulated by his grandfather. Now, in terms of being a threat, Helios definitely checks that box. He destroys Jinga, quickly establishing himself as a beast. All in all, I think Helios is a pretty good example of a villain from the outside looking in, but in actuality, he's not really a bad guy. Now, entering top 5 territory, we have Julian
Conzern, no. The 4 factors we talked about at the beginning. Reiji crosses off all of those boxes. Concern has no fear factor, bro. This guy, especially after he gets put on his ass, this guy is nothing.
I'd say Julian became an actual villain the moment he joined
his Beyblade is very scary.
And the highlight here is his narrative. His fall from grace is genuinely one of the most captivating character arcs of this series. I mean, after he gets disgraced by Damien, he loses everything, and then he joins up with the same people who took it all away from him.
Another Ziggurat W, by the way. Ziggurat is way down at like 15 or some shit.
Of pure desperation. And it's so interesting to see a confident champion like Julian fall so far down. His villain arc, so to speak, is maybe the deepest one on this list, and we get to see it
carried entirely by impact
of episodes. Now, just beating out Julian for 4th place, we actually have Zio Abyss. I've talked about this on the channel before, but I think Zio's arc in season 2 is straight peak. As a villain, I think he has the best motivation.
He got the best voice actor
on the list, and I don't think it's close. His best friend got sick, and his other best friend left. He was all alone.
He's so dramatic,
way of helping until Dr. Ziggurat came into the picture. And we all know how the story goes.
I don't know. A lot of people don't like. A lot of people think he's just being dramatic. Usually, I'm not in that camp. But for today's sake, he's just not better than Reiji, dude. He's not. He's not. We got to talk about fear factor again. Nobody's scared of this little kid, man. This kid, he was always the weakest in his camp. The only one he could beat was Masamune.
Zio becomes a literal test subject for painful arrangement procedures in order to save his friend. So when Masamune finally returns to the United States and they reunite, he's got a lot of built-up anger about the situation. And
his angry voice is really good.
Zio may not be as menacing or as impactful as other villains, but his narrative easily carries him into the top 5. So now let's move on to the top 3 podium. The 3rd best villain in the entire Metal series is actually Zio's teammate, Damien. Now let's get this
is my guy right here.
Damien is not a great character. He doesn't have a backstory. He doesn't really have an arc. He's kind of just a juiced up juggernaut with a superiority complex. But because we're judging these characters as villains, this absolutely works. What he doesn't have in the narrative department, he absolutely makes up for it by being a menacing, threatening villain who is must-see TV every time he's on screen. From his design to his previously mentioned superiority complex to just how strong he is.
The only thing I don't like about Damien is his battles. I don't like when the Beyblades disappear and it's just the avatars. That's his entire thing. He opens the gates of hell in the middle of the Beyblade stadium, and it's just avatars fighting in the gates of hell, and it's just Jenga talking the whole fucking time. Oh my god, can't stand that battle.
I mean, he's an awesome villain. I don't think we really need to dive into what he did to Tsubasa and you, or how badly he disgraced Julian. I mean, Damien was a badass.
Next
and then
level
he takes
aura.
you into Hades, which is basically
Next
his own
level
domain.
aura.
I mean, I just think Damien is such a cool villain. But okay, now let's get into second place. We actually have the Dragon Emperor himself, Ryuga.
You put Doji over Ryuga. I'm not mad at it.
Now, maybe you think he should be number 1. There's absolutely an argument you could make, but I have him second place. Now, keep in mind, Ryuga was only a villain in Season 1. But yeah, Season 1 Ryuga is just about as menacing as you can be. You know, he destroyed
Season 1 Ryuga is like the weakest version of Ryuga. Because he's just being controlled. Like, it's not really Ryuga being the villain. It's like the Beyblade inside of him. Dude, where's my vocabulary? The Beyblade inside of him, it's igniting. It's accelerating his anger. Or it's bringing out that anger inside of him to do these bad things. So
off your power,
I can't respect Season 1
in your
Ryuga
face
as
while
much.
doing it. On top of that, he was insanely important for the story, and he was super entertaining anytime he was on screen. The backstory he has with Jinga also just really works. And I mean, yeah, there's not really anything bad I can say about Ryuga as a villain. He made it this far for a reason, but now let's get into first place. My pick for the best villain in the entire Metal series has to be Doji. He's definitely not my favorite villain, but I think he's objectively the correct choice. I mean, Season 1 Doji alone is enough to have serious arguments for first place. Because as scary as Ryuga was, it was all Doji's doing. He found El Drago and
but you know, at the same time, we just bypassed Ziggurat. Ziggurat, he took Toby away from his friends and turned him into this soulless monster to control his Beyblade. We didn't give him any credit for that. Doji, I guess Doji actually Beyblades. That's the difference between him and Ziggurat.
Claim it. He then prepared meals for him, helping him grow stronger and take power. He organized battle bladers, pulling every single string, and this whole tournament made characters stronger.
And he came back at the end,
sacrificing them to Ryuga. He ran the Dark Nebula as a terrifying organization, and anytime Doji was on screen, you began to actually worry about the safety of the main characters. And then when he gets to fight Phoenix, he puts up an amazing performance. All in all, Season 1 Doji is just peak, but unlike most other villains, he has a massive advantage. He actually returns in another season. He's a part of Team Nemesis in Metal Fury, and ultimately you can credit him for causing Ryuga's death. It was Doji's taunting and rage baiting that I think pushed Ryuga over the edge. And then even when he gets caught up in the crossfire and seemingly falls to his own death,
my god, there's like that one part in Metal Fury where they're about to create Zeus's barrier and seal Nemesis away for good. But Doji is there. If Doji isn't there, Ryuga cooperates. But Doji's like, look at you, ganging up, huh? Never would have expected you to team up with Jinga. Nah, Doji. Yeah, Doji, 100%. This is the right choice.
Because he knows Ryuga is getting whooped by Nemesis. Seriously, Doji laughing as he's falling is some true.
He laughed at his death.
And then we didn't even talk about Zero G in this video, but he even returns in that show.
We don't gotta talk.
Yeah, I think Doji is easily the certified GOAT of villains in the Metal Saga. But as always, guys, I would love to hear what you think. Obviously, you don't need to leave your top 30 list in the comments,
I just want some more justice for Julian.
But yeah, guys, that's my ranking of the top 30 villains.
Why did I just say that?
Series.
I just want some justice for Ziggurat, and I feel like Reiji should be a little higher. Otherwise, it's a pretty good list. This guy's name is Wild Fang Productions, by the way, as promised. We're gonna like and subscribe. Wild Fang Productions, good job keeping Beyblade legacy alive. I don't know how you still have shit to talk about even 15 years after the show ended, but good video. That's me. Like I said, Flight Reacts coming back to save my bills tomorrow. That shit. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to record that tomorrow. But that's what you got to look forward to. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye.